PAC12 Network.
Welcome back to Pac-12 Beach Volleyball, the Pac-12 Championships from the University of Arizona in Tucson. Kevin Barnett alongside Kevin Wong as we are into our third duel of the day. The Arizona Sand Volleyball Courts, Bear Down Beach as it's affectionately known, ends up with the Arizona Wildcats and the California Golden Bears. First match was Utah and Oregon. Utah won the right to face off with USC coming up at 1 p.m. today. UCLA victorious in the second duel, and now Arizona and Cal about to get underway. Welcome inside to our position, everybody. Kevin Barnett alongside Kevin Wong. Kevin, the home side about to get on the sand. What's different about being at home in this collegiate atmosphere?
Of course, they're sleeping in their own beds. They've got the best preparation in terms of knowing these courts inside and out, but also the most pressure. Maybe the most at stake for Arizona as they're on the outside in looking towards the NCAA round of 8.
Okay, these two teams met just a few days ago. It's a rematch, not something Cal wanted. They weren't real positive about that as they went down 5-0. How does Cal change that around?
Well, they changed it around by changing the lineups top to bottom. There was an injury along the way to Marino, and because of it, it's reset 3-4 different teams. So it's going to be very different matchups on every court than these two teams had earlier in the week.
5 pairs all at once. Not the normal structure for beach volleyball in the Pac-12 or beach volleyball in NCAA play. Normally the 4 and 5s get things started, and then they come out with a second flight. We will start you out on court 1 as 5 matches commence simultaneously. Bryce Spark and Olivia Rodberg for Cal face off with another set of twins so popular in the sport of beach volleyball. And it's Madison and McKenna Witt. Madison McKenna Witt in the foreground there, and a look there at Rodberg, number 21. Sophomore defender, and that one goes long, a nice duck. And here's a look at the rules. Double elimination format, so even if you lose in this first one, you have more to go today. 5 matches, best 3 of 5 in those matches in terms of their results. You'll play inside the match a best 2 of 3. First 2 sets to 21 points, third if needed to 15. Saw UCLA in the last matchup that we had win in straight sets in the first 3 matchups that concluded. So it was all of a sudden 3-0 UCLA with the victory. In the previous matchup, the one we started with today, Utah and Oregon went down to the last couple of points in the third sets, and you weren't sure what the results were going to be. It was extremely exciting. We'll see how these two teams match up as that ball is crushed by McKenna Witt.
McKenna Witt, new age defender, 5'11", really long, but showing you she's not just a defender, she's an offender. Big explosive approach, big explosive swing.
That looked like an indoor attack.
Right, a little broad jump along with it.
And the Witt sisters have been playing outdoors. They will be headed indoors next year. So doing the reverse of what so many athletes are doing, they'll play at Cal Baptist University for head coach Brandon Higa next season. But they still have some work here to do for Steve Walker.
Got to be excited about a couple of twins coming in with that kind of ability. Outside hitters, you just put them on the left and right, just like they've been out here on the beach, right? And everything's golden.
You just put them out there, let them go. Put some pieces around them. But plenty to worry about now for the women of Witt. Cut shot, and they're showing some of the technical proficiency that has had them as one of the best teams in the Pac-12, although lately it's been a bit of a struggle.
First team that we actually saw a little motion on their offense. They run the back set on that play.
17-6 on the year for the Wits. That ball is put over the top. Nicely done.
Yeah, you look at the record this year, not quite as consistent as last year, but then you look at some of the adversities they've had to struggle against. McKenna Witt, 2 heart surgeries throughout the year, having heart episodes, a lot of electrical activity. Actually had to have a piece burned off, ablation.
There's a look at Steve Walker, 4th season as the head coach on the beach side. In fact, coach of the year last year, but that belies his experience, 10+ years on the indoor side with the Wildcats. But he has grown this Wildcat Beach program, 20 wins last year. That one long for head coach Steve Walker. Worked under Dave Rubio, longtime head coach on the indoor side. Rubio hatched a plan when Beach came around. He said, we're going to start it, then we're going to hand it off to Steve Walker. Witt's in trouble. This is Bryce Bark. Roll shot perfectly read, and an offensive opportunity. Boy, a lot of heat coming from the Witts early on.
Just so springy, right? So twitchy when I watch them play. The ability to move through sand, the way to cover distance. They're not tall, but they're long.
Now 6 foot and 5'11", a little bit bigger than the UCLA McNamara twins we just saw at 5'9" apiece. A tight first set here. Bark and Rodberg are up. Bark from the Palos Verdes area, number 4 there in blue. Used to be a ballet dancer for Peninsula School of Performing Arts back in the day. Always good to have good feet, Kevin Wong. Start out with good feet. Yeah. Oh, Bark tries to put that one over with a little creativity and just doesn't get enough height under it.
Yeah, Bark and Rodberg have been playing at the number 2 and number 3 spots throughout the year. Usually Rodberg playing with Grace Campbell. Bark playing as well with a different partner, but because of that switch, and of course the big injury we're talking about just happened last week here at Arizona to Mia Marino. Tweaked her back in Arizona. Her partner at the time was Jessica, and it just created this domino effect. You think about having one injury in a partnership in 5 different duels. You can go about attacking that 2 different ways. You can either surgically implant one person into that spot, or you can do what Megan Schmidt has done here this weekend and move nearly every team.
No different than how you see it in the professional scene when one partnership breaks up due to injury or just the relationship deteriorating. You see the cascading effect throughout the game, and you can see that inside the collegiate game as well. Mentioned a moment ago, Megan Schmidt, head coach, 2nd year, 3rd with beach volleyball. She was the associate head coach last year for Rich Feller. We wish him the best of luck as he has just retired from Cal. Last day will be in June.
Saw her indoor prowess there, Final Fours in 2007 and 2010. Also has a beach experience, assistant coach, volunteer assistant with Tom Black at Loyola Marymount.
Well, and she had her own AAA rating as a player down there in the California Beach Volleyball Association in Southern California. Yeah, the golden age of Bear volleyball, those 07 and 10 era, part of that, Megan Schmidt. You know, saw that update on some of the other courts. Remember, 5 happening all at once. Looks like only court 3 is kind of a mismatch right now. 10-4 on that court for Arizona.
We talk a lot about the CBVA, and you talked about it's the California Beach Volleyball Association, and we got a little CBVA royalty playing here in this round as well for Cal and the number 2 team, Camille Stepanoff, the granddaughter of George Stepanoff, who was one of the founding fathers of the CBVA.
In the CBVA Hall of Fame is her grandfather, 11-9 right now. Boy, quick movement across the sand by McKenna Witt, but she misses wide right. And it's 11-10. Technical timeout.
You can see some of the struggles. Their offense, high risk, high reward, very dynamic, lots of motion. They've made some unforced errors.
Arizona Wildcats positioned well for the future. 7 freshmen, 2 sophomores against just 5 upperclassmen.
Of course, how do you replace this team, the Witt sisters, the 2 seniors who've been 4 years in this program? Steve Walker, some of the challenges he's going to have to face.
Hallie Amaro playing at the 5 spot, the redshirt senior.
I think some of the other challenges that they've had even before the season started, losing a couple of players from last year's squad. Kalei Mao, who really was a surprising contributor in last year's SAM program, as well as Katarina Pilipic. the Croatian, the couple of players that they had expected to have in the program and have really felt the lack because they're not here.
Kalemao now playing professionally down in Puerto Rico, has moved on to the professional ranks and getting paid to play volleyball. Nice kind of lifestyle. Another rip from the Wits. They are springy is a good way to describe these young athletes.
Talk about one of the advantages of being twins. They have a lot of professional experience playing on the AVP last year against Carrie Walsh-Jennings, the three-time gold medalist, and her partner April Ross. They said they were attacking McKenna. Everything was matching about the two sisters. They had the same suits, the same hair, just different colored sunglasses. So they were switching the sunglasses. They were switching what sides they were on the court. And
it's like the Parent Trap out there.
Right, and at the end of the match, Carrie came over with a suspicious look in her eyes and said, "Were you doing what I think you were doing?" Got to get every advantage against the greatest player of all time. They just named court at Stanford after Carrie Walsh-Jennings.
Yep, dedicated in her honor at the behest of a unknown donor.
So was it Kevin Barnett?
No, not me. I don't have those kind of sponsorship dollars, Kevin Wong. Wits locked in a tough battle here with Bryce Bark and Olivia Rodberg. Pulling there was Bark making the play. Even with a hat hanging in her hair, trying to put the ball away. How much of a distraction is that, Kev? You ever get a piece of equipment stuck on you during a rally?
Yeah, I think that's one of the big challenges. Another one that people don't talk about and they might make light of, but the equipment, the sunglasses, it kind of changes your view, the hat. Early on, it took me a couple of years of steady play to get used to playing with sunglasses and a visor.
You and Scott Wong ever try and switch sunglasses? People that know who was who?
No, never tried that. I guess we weren't that smart. Plus, you know, like it's different when one brother's 6'4" and the other's 6'7", and you're not identical.
Scott's just a little guy. 14-13, set number 1. PAC12 Women's Beach Volleyball Championships from Tucson, Arizona. Midday approaching, the sun blazing out here at Bear Down Beach. Early on we had some cloud cover and a little bit of wind. The wind has calmed down and the sun has come out.
As close as this first set is, this would be the surprise of the tournament so far. If Bark Rodberg could upset the Witt sisters, wow.
Remember, it was 5-0 for Arizona just back on April 22nd.
Got to give some credit to Megan Schmidt, just rolling the dice and shuffling the deck, and you know, in game planning. And you talk about scouting reports. Well, you can rip up the old ones because right now everything very different.
Now the Wits take a 2-point advantage for Arizona.
And across the board, you look at the scores; they're all within a close distance. Couple points here, 3 points there. So Megan Schmidt mixing things up.
Right, even that court that had gotten out of hand 10-4 early on is now 15-11. You know, we're 16-14 here on court 1.
Yeah, we saw the original when the first roster came out with the pairings and the matchups, and I kind of shook my head and I said, come on, this can't be the truth. This can't be what Megan Schmidt's going to put out here. And you know what? She's smarter than I am.
Well, in fact, there was some discussion about whether that would change at all.
Right.
And she was under the impression, head coach right there, Megan Schmidt, that you could change your lineups because you are allowed to move players inside of a multi-duel day on a normal tournament format, because they do play multiple duels in a day and in a weekend throughout the regular season. And you can move your pairs up and down, although only one position between duels. But here she was informed, nope, you start the tournament one way, you play the tournament that way.
Yeah, the difference being that this is an event. The PAC12 Beach Volleyball Championships an event, and you're not able to make those switches. Only possibility is if there's some sort of cataclysmic injury, and we hope that doesn't happen.
They've actually already had an illness, and coming up for USC, Joy Dennis is going to be unable to go. So SC has already had to exercise a replacement. Only one of the tournaments so far. Battle at the net won by number 23, Madison Witt. 19-16, taking a lead at an opportune time, playing 21.
Talked about her sister's adversities with the heart surgery. She's had some injuries herself, 3 ankle rolls throughout the year. Felt really bad. Came out to the PAC12 Championships that I host out in Hawaii on Queens Beach in Waikiki. She sprained her ankle before the event happened, and then her mother got on a moped and had a little bit of a skercuffle.
Oh, whiskey throttle?
Moped, yeah.
Oh, no, you don't want whiskey throttle.
Yeah, they didn't come back the next year. Huh.
Each of their 17 wins this year, 17-6 on the year of the Witt twins, have been in straight sets.
2016 in the pairs competition, they finished second place behind Clays and Hughes. So really in that elite group, probably the McNamara's, you throw that in the mix, those 3 teams.
Their team, Arizona, finishing second in the Pac-12 team championships last season, losing to USC in that final. You saw the water going down the arm there trying to cool off. And you know, if the kids that are here in the desert full time are trying to cool off, but it's a hot day.
And you also know that that's part of the preparation, right? So that's one of the home court advantages. Is you see that from Arizona right now. Actually seeing that from some of the Cal kids as well. You know, as each team looks to develop their identity, I think that this Cal squad, a little bit undersized, but finding some really good pockets is Megan Schmidt. A lot of San Diego kids.
We'll look at 1 and 2. Over there on the second court, Jessica Gaffney and Camille Stepanoff for Cal are facing off with Olivia McDonald and Olivia Halloran of Arizona. Halloran McDonald, 18-12 here in that first set. And boy, I've been watching a little bit kind of off to the side, and you watch McDonald, and she is a springy, physical athlete at the net.
From New Zealand, Kiwi, a lot of collegiate and international experience. Second set point here for the Witt sisters on your right side. Fought off again.
Yeah, 2019 over there on court number 1, set point number 3 coming up.
Pretty amazing partnership, right? Just thrown together at the last minute, making it work is Cal. That's a mistake, though. You score a point, you get a block on one side, and then
big swing and out of bounds. So huge rally now. It's 20-all over there on that court. Now the Witt sisters may be feeling the heat.
And I think they just switched sides, actually.
How about headbands? What about sunglasses? Sunglasses are identical. The hair is also identical, but they wear numbers here.
Yeah.
Oh, missed serve and a missed opportunity. Just put it in. Bryce Bark goes wide, and now it's set point number 4 there for the number 1 pair. Little standing jump float. Bark. Oh, nicely done up over the top of the block. 21 apiece. 19-15 here for pair 2, Halloran and McDonald.
Bryce Bark in her 3rd year, full year of beach volleyball. Cool, calm, and collected. So steady, says Megan Schmidt.
McDonald with another big cut, and it's set point for the second pair for Arizona. The Witts looking to take the lead on the right side of your screen. Crossbody, good, and they are up. So both teams from Arizona with set point opportunities happening right now. Set point on court 3 as well. This is how it goes. You have 5 happening at once. A lot of winning to be done. Bark staves it off against the Witts. So that one will continue. In fact, that ball rolling onto court 2. And pair 3 has concluded. Arizona with the victory. Oh, trying to get a hold of that one was McDonald, just off the left hand. So set point number 2 will happen there. Meantime, it's 22-all. Make it 23-22 for the Witts.
Offense starting to steady out, but they haven't found a way to score points against Cal. Cal's been doing it with craftiness, the off-speed stuff.
8 set points happening right now. A total of 8. Witts with a swing for it. An absolute bomb.
Man.
Dug hug. One more? Indeed, there it is, set one for the women of Witt. 24-22. It's set point number 3 over on court 2.
We're not done with it set yet.
Jessica Gaffney to serve.
And the flippers have messed the score up, so our board is right. It's 2017. Cal fighting off a number of set points.
According to the flippers, it's 50-0. Not sure what that means, but that's what's happening over there on the end of the court.
I think that means that Hawaii 5-0 is coming up after this broadcast, right?
Old one or the new one? That's the question. 20-17. A lot of work to be done here. Cut shot, and that will do it. So Arizona winners on court 1 and court 2. Victorious. Let's go over to court 4 now. When we're on court 4, it's 19-18 Arizona. Make that 19-19 right now with Cal serving. So on court 4, Brooke Burling and Mia Mazan are playing against Ia Lindahl and Madison Dueck. That one poked into the block and just off the hands of Lindahl. Stepping back to serve, Brooke Burling, number 31. Defender out of Naperville, Illinois. A couple of defenders here. Someone has to block. This time it'll be a Mia. The poke into the net has another point going the way of Arizona, and another set goes for the Wildcats. Burling and Mazan victorious. Wildcats off to a good start. They won 4 of the first 5 set number 1s. We'll be right back with set 2.
You're watching PAC12
Network.
PAC12 Beach Volleyball is brought to you by State Farm. Get to a better state. Welcome back. PAC12 Beach Volleyball Championships from beautiful Bear Down Beach in Tucson, Arizona. California Golden Bears and Arizona Wildcats facing off in our 3rd matchup of the day. All 5 courts happening at once. And 4 of the first 5 went to the home side, Arizona. They're coming off a 5-0 win over Cal back on April 22nd. A revenge match perhaps for Cal, but they have a lot of work to do here in the 2nd set. Let's take you back now again to court number 2. And the action happening here, court 2, Jessica Gaffney and Camille Stepanoff against Olivia Halloran and Olivia McDonald. The Olivias. We have twins, we have same names, we have a whole bunch of different things going on. In fact, Olivia McDonald from Hamilton, New Zealand, Olivia Halloran, the pride of Hamilton High School. All kinds of intertwining names throughout women's collegiate beach volleyball. In the foreground at the net, you have Jessica Gaffney. Can't quite reach that one, but her partner is there. Stepanoff in transition, nobody up. A little bit too sharp on the cut shot. So 3-2 the advantage now for Arizona, having taken the first set 21-17.
Serve missed just long by Olivia McDonald from New Zealand. Thriving winter tour in New Zealand. A lot of the professional players from around the world to go there during the off season for some extra reps, kind of spring training.
Nobody up on top of the net but Wong. Well, an opportunity here to have people in the booth while we sit. Beth Lanier, longtime head coach at Utah. Your team with a big victory this morning.
Yeah, it was really great for us to come out with a victory against Oregon. You know, it's our first Pac-12 championship, and so we're really fired up about it and pleased.
What did J.J. Van Niel have for you task-wise afterwards, since you're now the assistant coach to him on the beach side?
I think he's smart enough to not give me too many. Yeah.
Now, beach volleyball is something brand new to Utah, but you've had some athletes come in that were promised the opportunity that it was going to start. Tell us about starting beach volleyball as a sport and getting it approved by the organization there at the university.
Well, going back even a little bit further, Kevin, I was on the AVCA board in 2008. I was actually the president, and when it was going to vote if it was going to be a sport, and we were in favor of it back then, even though I knew it wasn't going to happen at Utah for a while. So 10 years later, it finally came to fruition, and we were able to, build some indoor courts, which was pretty important for us in Utah, and we got a lot of training in January and February, which was great, and then we have outdoor courts as well. Danny Barton came in she graduated early from high school, and she's on our ones team, and she played a lot of beach volleyball in high school, and she was really excited about the opportunity. She actually was recruited by USC for beach and some other schools, so that was a nice start for us, but all our players are very invested and fired up about it.
What was it like for you to recruit Danny, considering you had coached her mother at Utah?
Made me feel old, for one thing, but it's my first time that's happened, and it's really special. Honestly, it's cool. And Danny's a lot like her mother was, very similar. So it's pretty fun.
Pretty unique too. One of the few athletes I've heard of that graduated early from high school and then comes directly into the beach season, and will start with beach and then end with indoor, playing on both sides.
Yeah, we debated about that. If we wanted to not play her this spring, but we just thought it was too important in our now girls season to. Oops, it's windy.
It's a little breezy here occasionally.
We wanted to start off the beach program in style, and Danny was a part of that, so it just worked out that way.
I find it fascinating. You talked about the fact that you knew you weren't going to have a beach program, and yet you still were one of the people who kind of ushered it in and pushed it forward. Explain that to me. That's amazing.
You know what? It was very controversial.
Yeah.
It was very controversial, and we had to battle for it. And it was difficult for me because, we're not on the beach. We're not in. It gets pretty nice in Utah, but it's not Southern California. But I felt like it was important to support it because it was going to add, 6 scholarships and another sport for women's sports and great opportunity for women athletics. And it was pretty much a no-brainer once I got past the idea that it would take us a while to get it.
Not necessarily a beach volleyball hotbed in the state of Utah, but when we talked to J.J. Van Neal, your head coach, he said that there's a tremendous amount of volleyball being played. He mentioned a big tournament over July 4th in Park City, and there's Wasatch Volleyball Club, Beach Volleyball Club. There's a lot happening with the game.
Yeah, I think there's more than people realize. There's quite a bit. Every weekend there's big-time beach tournaments and grass tournaments going on, and Wasatch Beach is a great 6-court facility, outdoor, and there's indoor courts being built now. I think us adding the program is going to jumpstart initiate the interest even more for young players in Utah, and so I see all positives from it for sure.
Being that it's kind of a front-range city, it has to be exciting in the afternoon when you get some thunderstorms rolling in and the wind and hail and whatever else.
Well, we did. We practiced in the sun one day, and then it was, the next day we were indoors. So we definitely faced some conditions, but, it's fine. We had some beautiful sunny days as well. So.
Action on court right now. Arizona up 10-7, having won 21-17 in the first. You're looking at the number 2 pair, Jessica Gaffney, Camille Stepanoff, and Olivia McDonald and Olivia Halloran. What are the things you've noticed in terms of your athletes moving from indoor to outdoor and the demands that's placed on them?
They haven't felt too much in terms of, kind of we were a little bit worried about overtraining and burnout and that kind of thing, and we haven't experienced that. They've had a great attitude. We didn't jump up to 20 hours all semester. We definitely kept it, kind of around 12 hours. And they are absolutely loving it. They think it's a nice release from the indoor grind, and they see it as fun, and we're trying to keep it like that. We definitely are training. We train pretty hard January and February, but we also know that, it needs to be a fun experience, and that's kind of the attitude we've taken, and they've responded really well. And it's definitely helped their indoor game. It's been really fun seeing the transfer and how much it's helped.
Well, it's exciting to get a win in the Pac-12 Beach Volleyball Championships in the first round. Now the award is USC, so best of luck with that one.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks for being on. Beth Lanier, head coach at Utah on the indoor side, just an assistant with the beach side.
Executive assistant.
Can you be associate, assistant, head coach? Can you put all those things together?
Oh, man.
10-10 now for pair number 2. Cal trying to stave off elimination, having lost that first set. Remember, we're doing best 2 of 3 inside of each one of these 5 pairs that are happening concurrently here at Bear Down Beach. Kevin Barnett alongside Kevin Wong. Big thanks to Beth Lanier for sitting in for a moment on what is a busy, busy afternoon.
Another Cal team thrown together. Team ball control. Really an undersized team. You've got Stepanoff at 5'4". I think that's the shortest person on any roster we're going to see through this Pac-12 championships. Undersized underdog, and her partner, even though she's listed at 6'1", she's a defensive specialist indoors. So you got to subtract a few inches for that.
Now, Camille Stepanoff, don't discount her. 5'4", but her AAA on the beach.
Reading through her quotes, I think the heart and soul of Stepanoff is what we want to see out on the beach. She said, I'm 5'4", everyone's taller than me. Indoor and club, I wouldn't make the top teams because no one would believe in me.
Right.
The great thing about the beach, said Camille, is that at the end of the day, it's scoreboard. You pick your partner, you score more points than the other team. It doesn't matter if they are on the USA junior national team, it doesn't matter if they're 6'2". Whoever wins has the bragging rights, and she's done a lot of winning over the course of her career.
Well, her partner is 6'1" at the net. Jessica Gaffney was a full-time member for USF at San Francisco before moving over to Cal. Had beach volleyball experience there before moving over as well. As we look now back at pair 1, and the Witt sisters have really taken control of that match. Really taking control of that one. It is 16-7 there. It's 16-8 on the right-hand side in pair 3. Arizona with the lead there. So Arizona looking like they could pull a UCLA and be fairly dominant through the first 2 sets and perhaps give themselves the dual victory.
Yeah, that right screen, the San Diego connection of Arizona. It's Sam Manley, the defender, as well as Haley Devlin, the junior blocker for Arizona, in control of that number 3 duels against Grace Campbell and Nicole Anderson.
A couple of young players for Cal. Campbell a sophomore, Anderson just a freshman. And Manley and Devlin sophomores as well. It's kind of the evolution of the sport right now, Kev. So many athletes making that choice to play beach, and so many young talented athletes joining the beach. It'll be interesting to see what this sport looks like in 4 years.
I saw one of those graphics. I don't think anyone thought that schools would add programs so quickly. I mean, it looks like we're going to be up over 100 within the next year or 2.
Yep, 77 programs as of today in NCAA beach volleyball.
And you think about each of those programs. Each one of those programs, you're talking about salaries for coaches. You're talking about facilities. You're talking about budgets for travel. And that's not to mention scholarship money and opportunities for these juniors across the country. It is an amazing fact. The most successful emerging sport in NCAA history.
Witt solidly in control, 20-7. 18-10 over there for Devlin and Manley. Over on court 2, it's 13 all with the Olivias. Witt's match point. Kind of a spin tracking there and a put away on the right-hand side. A beautiful play to finish off their matchup.
It's almost like they were a little embarrassed at the lack of energy and motivation in that first set. Second set tightened things up and really dominated.
Madison and McKenna Witt victorious, 2-0, and now their team leads 1-0 in this best-of-5 dual match. So again, that's how it works. You play 2 of 3 with each one of these pairs, which are all playing now. And the results of those pairs will move into the dual scoring, which is best 3 of 5.
Steve Walker might have the most range of any coach that we've seen. We've seen him from court 1 all the way to court 5. Typically, we talked about how the coaches, you stay on a couple of courts early in the matches, but he has been all over the place.
Swing for the match here, and it's good. A victory for Haley Devlin and Sam Manley in their matchup with Campbell and Anderson. So that's 2-0 now, just like that. Arizona with the lead. Let's now go over to court 5 as we're whipping around here, red zone style, in the Pac-12 Beach Volleyball Championships. Amaro and Anselmo, who we have yet to see, at the number 5 spot against Gustafson and Neff. Bridget Gustafson, also out of Naperville, Illinois. A couple of Naperville natives out here. Tanya Neff out of Novato, California. They'll receive serve here. And that ball goes long off the right hand of Tanya Neff.
Neff, her 3rd year of collegiate beach volleyball experience, played at the number 4 spot in 2016.
Been a steady rise for Neff. Freshman year was kind of on and off the court, playing at the 4 and 5, and then solidly in last year, and this year back at the 5.
Nice looking defensive play. Bridget Gustafson, another player from Naperville, Illinois. You talked about, aren't you from Naperville?
Hotbed of volleyball. Yeah, go out there to 4 Lakes.
You and her.
You can play at 4 Lakes. That's where you get your beach volleyball experience back in the day. Used to be a ski hill. I don't know how we ever thought we could have a ski hill in suburban Chicago. But just out of the reach of Gustafson that time.
Amaro with the beautiful line shot, sending this match to 3. Amaro, one of the oldest players we'll see out here today. She has the affectionate nickname, just like Camilla Tan does for UCLA, of the Grandma, 5th-year senior.
4 years indoors, terrific career. A tough player indoors. So that one headed to a 3rd set. Coin flip coming for side and serve. Back over now to court 2. We'll check back in on the Olivias. And this one looks like it could be wrapped up for Arizona. Remember, this would not only be a wrap-up of this particular matchup, but it would be a wrap-up of the entire duel for Arizona.
Look very sharp so far. So have the Livs. Big and little Liv. Real traditional pairing. Big left side blocker. Smaller, quick right side defender.
Here's McDonald to serve. Jump serve. I've seen her make a ton of physical, athletic, big moves at the net, like going for jump serve. Played with Sam Manley last year, mostly did Olivia McDonald. That was at the 3, moved up to the 2 this year with success. Oh, trying to go quick on that bump set. That'll be point Cal.
And Stepanoff continuing her service run on the end line. Talked about the CBVA, her grandfather George. He was the guy who created the rules more than 50 years ago for the CBVA. Also created the ranking system when we talk about players being AAA or AA's or B's. That's George Stepanoff.
McDonald. I don't think I've seen too many shots out of number 5 thus far. Been a lot of big swings. Beautiful run. See if Arizona can convert that defense. McDonald, there's a shot, but it's just a little too sharp.
One of the better rallies we've seen. The defense from Stepanoff. Really the question for this Cal team is the setting after you make the play. On the other side, what? Team speed from Arizona. Very physical team.
Taking a peek in on court 4, where Arizona won the first set. They are currently winning the second set in handy fashion. Brooke Burling and Mia Mason.
Halloran hit that ball off the block. Another player with a little bit of a home court advantage. Mesa, Arizona native. Although just playing beach volleyball just the last couple of years.
Question now is who will wrap it up? The 2s or the 4s? Both are winning. 1917 here on the court we're watching. 1911 on the other one. And there's 20. Another big move at the net from Olivia McDonald. Set point, dual point for Arizona. Roll shot right on the line. Match point on both sides now. Someone's going to wrap up the duel. On court 2 receiving, on court 4 serving. A serve. And another point for Cal. Cal holds him off on both courts.
Right. The Livs showing a lot of fight.
So now both Arizona pairs will be receiving for match point, dual point. Block there for Cal, another point. And on both sides, Cal is rallying.
All tied up on court 2. Still a big lead on court 1.
20 to 14. Court 4, but 1 to our left on the western side. Looks like it could be here. Match point, dual point. Pokey. Touched by Cal. That one over and another point for Cal.
And they take a lead on court number 2. Actually, Cal with their first set point. Arizona getting the timeout. Actually, just the side switch on court 4.
Here it is. On court 2. Set point. Nope, staved off. Beautifully done. There's a shot for McDonald once again. MVP in New Zealand, U17, U19. Watch her hit a couple of balls, attack a couple of times. You get a good feel for that immediately.
And yet still it had a big culture shock moving.
Here we go. Match point, dual point. And we'll wait some more.
What is that, 5 in a row?
That is amazing. Burling and Mason trying to close out Lindahl, and Dueck having all kinds of trouble. Back once again on pair 2. Another set point for Cal. Stopped again. Boy, the offensive struggles for Brooke Burling continue, and Cal smartly works on her, but now a late call, and that'll do it. Looked like perhaps a net violation on the block. Point initially looked like it was going Cal's way. Now it goes to Arizona.
The interesting thing is there's no one to overturn. There's no one to overrule. There's only one up ref.
No instant replay, no nothing. He calls it, it's over. So pair 4 becomes the deciding factor. Back to court 2. Arizona now with the dual victory. Dual victory courtesy of Brooke Burling and Mia Mason. So Mia Mason, the alumni, the legacy athlete here, comes through. Ball out of bounds, and that'll do it again in favor of Arizona. It wasn't easy on either court 2 or court 4, but in the end, Arizona got it done. 4-0 currently for the Wildcats as they will look to move on and face off with UCLA. Cal is not done, a double elimination format. Cal will return later today.
And this duel's not done either. Court 5 going to the 3rd set where the score is 6-5.
Let's take you over to court 5. Bridget Gustafson and TNF for Cal. They are on the far side. And Hallie Amaro, along with Natalie and Selmo, are on this side. Another one of those big splits, both in height, 6'1" and 5'6", and also in experience. Amaro, number 3 in blue and red, a graduate student, redshirt senior, and Selmo is a freshman.
But in Selma, I'll tell you, I would say she's played more beach volleyball than about anyone out here, including Sarah Hughes. Natalie and Selma, her parents John and Sherry. John was my first beach partner.
Ever?
And we traveled up and down the coast from Santa Cruz all the way to San Diego. Sherry had this convertible. So we'd get in the convertible, we'd do these drives, and it was every weekend during the summer, my sophomore and junior seasons when I was at UCLA. Good times. John and Selma, one of the good guys.
How much prize money did you take home that year?
Those were the blue collar days. Come on.
Oh, no.
CBVAs.
How many shark watches you have?
I think I got a lot of cozies, right? The beer cozies.
Oh, really?
And yeah, some beach chairs.
I wonder if the statute of limitations has come up on that one. Go back and rewrite. Maybe we can find some more championships for Pepperdine back then. Now our dad, John Anselmo, now head coach at West LA College. Been there for some time. Last of the 5 matches to conclude here in Arizona versus Cal. Remember, it was 5-0 back on April 22nd. So far it's 4-0, but this pivotal 3rd set will determine the final score. At the immediate conclusion of this match, we will have for you Arizona State taking on Stanford. This might be the tallest coach matchup. Andrew Fuller.
He's also got one of the tallest blockers, not just in the country, but in the world.
I think both those guys running about 6'10".
Yeah, they would not be a good team as players. Maybe as coaches.
Yeah, ball control would be an issue for Fuller and Keenan.
Not a lot of double blocks going on in professional beach volleyball.
9-6 now here on the 5th pair. Beautiful dig in the back row. Transition opportunity, Gustafson. Gonna need more defense. In, out, on the line is the call. Amaro with the kill.
Surgical precision, turning that down the line. Says she needs to work on being a little more aggressive offensively. That's a good way to pick a really aggressive spot.
Tough serve, Amaro will pull. Defensive opportunity, a little too short. Amaro cannot get there. Point, Cal Bears.
Gustafson talked about the bonding that she and Neff did. Played in a training camp. The whole Cal team went down to Manhattan Beach, and she said 6 hours of driving from Manhattan Beach back to Cal after a weekend of playing beach volleyball. That'll make or break you.
Oh, that sounds brutal.
You're jaded though, right? You're nearly 40.
Oh, I used to get on the bus when I played in Italy. We would get on the bus after every match, and it would be 6 hours to somewhere going for Macerata, because it was 6 hours from everything. Yeah, that's a tough one to climb right on the bus after you've played all day. Neff at the net. Enough of an intimidation there to stop Anselmo. And 11-8, creeping closer. The pair from Cal.
Another cool thing about Gustafson, who's here serving. She's on the junior board of directors, also one of the founders of the Swifty Foundation. Her twin brother, Michael, passed away, unfortunately, with brain cancer, age of 15. And so the Swifty Foundation about working on more awareness and also working on research with pediatric brain cancer.
Definitely a worthwhile endeavor and something that extends beyond volleyball. One of those things we were talking about earlier to put volleyball in perspective.
Yeah, you read through the bios, you know, top to bottom, so many different schools, people working with the needy, people working with, there's a Stanford player we'll see later on, charity feeding kids in the Philippines where her family's from. You know, there's such a greater level of responsibility and awareness, I think, in these millennials. They get a bad rap a lot of times, but they're doing some amazing things.
Has to be an amazing comeback right now for Gustafson and Neff. Trailing by 4 with 3 to go here in this 3rd set to 15. Have to start it with an offensive play. There's that rainbow you're looking for. The jumbo shrimp.
The jumbo shrimp's the angle. That's the...
Ah, doggone it. What's the line then? There's no food name. There's plenty of food in volleyball.
That's the French fry. Curly fries.
Curly fries, yeah.
Speaking of which.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's our order.
Off the hands, out of bounds, 2 points away are Amaro and Anselmo from victory in 3 and a sweep for Arizona, 5-0.
Off the hands from Anselmo, so cagey.
Amaro pulls. Defense. Oh, and the short shot is good. Anselmo making Dad proud with that one.
Yeah, she said her dad actually one of her motivations. Makes me want to be the best beach volleyball player. Also makes me want to be the best person I can be. Isn't that all you ask for when you have kids? If you can get that quote and have a kid mean that.
You just want them to be happy and have a good time. That's it.
Yeah.
Be successful, whatever they would like to do. Match point coming up after a timeout for Cal. Take a look at the most recent poll. The AVCA puts one out each week, as they do for indoor men's and women's volleyball. They do it for women's beach volleyball. USC #1 at 30-0. UCLA coming in at #2. And then you look at some of the other contenders, former national champions: Pepperdine, Florida State, Long Beach State.
And we saw that number. We saw Arizona at the #8 spot. They'll allow 8 teams into the NCAA tournament. And you really get the feeling that this is a team, if they go out and they beat a UCLA this weekend, they beat a USC this weekend, really could be a key factor in qualifying for postseason play. Lots to play for, lots at stake for the hometown Arizona squad.
Set point for Arizona. Amaro with the block and the touch. That'll have to go. She stays. No, she does not. She pulls. Defense. Oh, that's an indoor play right there, and you will get called for that. Double axe handle. And that's one of those adjustments that's hard to make when you played indoor for so long.
Yeah, the free ball. They're not going to call any lifts. They'll just call doubles, if anything, on the beach. Much higher standard when you have that kind of time.
Even if it's clean. Match point #2. Amaro. Blocked. So Cal has proven tough at the end of these sets, haven't they?
Right, and the undersized, but they've got a lot of scrap, a lot of fight. They've done a fabulous job. Going to give some trouble to whoever they match up against in the second round.
Gustafson at the net. Pardon me, Neff at the net. Gustafson with the serve now. 14-11, a few points to go. You need 3. Pokey. And over deep. Just missed. 15-11, that'll do it. So it's a sweep for Arizona. Well, we've seen Kevin Wong, we've seen the #2 and the #3 both come out and make a statement here in the first round of the Pac-12 Women's Beach Volleyball Championships.
Yeah, I think this Arizona squad from top to bottom, maybe the most impressive first round matchup. They really were dialed in. We talked about some of the advantages of being the hometown team, some of the motivations with postseason play at stake.
Steve Walker and his crew will move on to round 2. They will face off with UCLA. So you can get a 2-3 matchup in the second round. The Witt sisters victorious in their effort after a rough start. For Steve Walker, pretty happy with what you just saw from your team.
Your 12-minute notification to take Victoria. Thank you.
On the home sand, the home side comes through. Arizona 5-0 over Cal. We have another matchup coming for you in this day of beach volleyball. Next up, Arizona State and Stanford will face off. This is a full day of women's beach volleyball action here. The Pac-12 Beach Volleyball Championships. Kevin Barnett and Kevin Wong, we're back with you for 3 more yet to go today.
You need tires. You don't need a hassle.